सबको इसी तरह. Let me extend a very warm welcome this morning to each and every one of you, those who have joined us physically here at the Mandir on 43rd Street, and indeed all of the devotees who are viewing us online, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Shubh Swagatam. This morning, once more we come together to offer our love, to offer our adorations, to express our gratitude to Bhagwan for all of the blessings that we have been bestowed with and that we continue to be bestowed with. This morning, as we come together as a family to offer our love, let us do so with that sense of hope that whatever may be amiss, whatever difficulties we may be facing or experiencing, whatever anxieties we may have, that through the blessings of Bhagwan, those will be alleviated. I invite you to gaze at the murtis before you. Whichever form you find most endearing, whichever form you find most appealing, fix your gaze on that form. And having done so, I invite us all to now stand as we begin with invocation mantra and as we surrender ourselves to Bhagwan. Hari Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Shri Saraswatye Namah. Om Shri Guru Charan Kamalebhyo Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvara. Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini. Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri. Swaha Swadha Namostute. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam. Devaki Paramanandam. Krishnam Bande Jagatguru. Nagindra Haraya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambharagaya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandramabhedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaye Pataye Namaha. Om Manojavam Marutatulyabhegyam Jetindriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Bhatatmajam Bharariyutamukam Shri Ramadutam Shirishi Namami. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Bheti, please resume your seats as we join together in Kirtan, glorifying Bhagwan.
Lambodar Gajanana Vignanashak Gajanana. Lambodar Gajanana Vignanashak Gajanana. Dukhnashak Gajanana. Bhakta Rakshak Gajanana. Dukhnashak Gajanana. Bhakta Rakshak Gajanana. Gajanana hi Gajanana. Gajanana hi Gajanana. Gajanana hi Gajanana. Gajanana hi Gajanana. Lambodar Gajanana Vignanashak Gajanana.
Lambodar Gajanana
पद्म पावन गजानना सर्वेश्वर विघ्नेश्वर पद्म पावन गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्नाशक गजानना
लंबोदर गजानना विघ्नाशक गजानना
प्रथमेश्वर बुद्धिदाता भक्त पालक गजानना प्रथमेश्वर बुद्धिदाता भक्त पालक गजानना भक्त पालक गजानना परम शोभन दुष्ट हंता संत रक्षक गजानना परम शोभन दुष्ट हंता संत रक्षक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्नाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्नाशक गजानना दुखनाशक गजानना भक्त रक्षक गजानना दुखनाशक गजानना भक्त रक्षक गजानना भक्त रक्षक गजानना भक्त रक्षक गजानना।
प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय. We continue in glorifying Bhagwan's name. We join together now in Durga Chalisa. We invite you all to join together as we glorify the Divine Mother.
जय श्री दुर्गा अंबिका जगत पालिनी मात तुमरो चालीसा रचू की जय मोहि सनात नमो नमो दुर्गे सुख करिणी नमो नमो अम्बे दुख हरिणी निरंकार है ज्योति तुम्हारी दीन लोक फैली उजियारी चंद्र ललाट मुख महाविशाला नेत्र लाल भृकुटी विकराला रूप पात को अधिक सुहावे दर्श करत जन अति सुख पावे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे तुम संसार शक्ति लव कीना पालन हेतु अनदन दीना अन्नपूर्णा हुई जगपाला तुम हो वादी सुंदरी माला प्रलयंकाल सब नाशनहारी तुम गौरी शिव
शंकर प्यारी
शिव योगी तुम्हारे गुण गावे ब्रह्मा विष्णु तुम्हें नित ध्यावे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे
रूप सरस्वती का तुम धारा देश बोधि ऋषि मुनि न उबारा धरो रूप नरसिंहाम्बा प्रगट भई पादे के खम्बा रक्षा कर प्रहलाद बचायो हिरण्या
को स्वर्ग पठायो।
लक्ष्मी रूप धारो जग माही,
श्री नारायण अंग समाही। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
क्षीर सिंधु में करत विलासा, दया
सिंधु दीजे मन आसा।
हिंगलाज में तुम ही भवानी,
महिमा अमित न जात बखानी।
मातंगी धूमावती माता,
भुवनेश्वर भगला सुखदाता।
श्री भैरव तारा जग तारण,
चीन बाल भव दुख निवारण। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
हे हरि वाहन सोहि भवानी,
नागुर वीर चलत अगवानी।
हर मेघा पर खरग विराजे,
जाको देख काल धर भाजे।
सोहे और आश त्रिशूला, जाति उधत शत्रु
शत्रुहिय शूला।
नवर कोटि में तुम ही विराजत,
तीन लोक मृदंगा बाजत।
जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे
ओ मैया
जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
शुंभ निशुंभ दानव तुम मारे,
दक्ष बीज सनकन संहारी।
महिषासुर नृपति अभिमानी,
जही अघ भार मही अकुलानी।
रूप करा काली को धारा, सैन्य सहित तुम तेहि संहारा। परी गद संतन पर जब जब,
भई सहे मातु तुम तब तब।
जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे
ओ मैया
जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
अभरपुरी और वासव लोका, तब महिमा
सब कही अशोका।
ज्वाला में है ज्योति तुम्हारी, तुम ही सदा
पूजत नर नारी।
प्रेम भक्ति से जो जस गावे, दुख दारिद्र निकट नहीं आवे। ध्यावे तुम जो नर मन लाई, जन्म मरण ते सोचुति जाई। जय
अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
योगी सुर मुनि कहत पुकारी,
योग न होई बिन शक्ति तुम्हारी।
शंकर आचार तप कीनो, काम क्रोध जीती सब लीनो। विष दिन ध्यान धरत शंकर को, काहू काल नहीं
सुमिरो तुमको।
शक्ति रूप को मन मन पायो,
शक्ति गई तब मन पछतायो। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
शरणागत हुई कीर्ति बखानी, जय 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 जगदम्ब भवानी। भई प्रसन्नादि जगदम्बा, जय शक्ति नहीं कीन विलम्बा। को मात कष्ट अति घेरा,
तुम बिन कौन हरे दुख सुख मेरा।
आशा तृष्णा निपत सतावे,
रिपु मूरख महीयति दर
पावे।
पावे।
जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
शत्रुनाश की जय महारानी, सुमिरो विरचित तुम
ही भवानी।
करो कृपा हे मातु दयाला,
रिद्धि सिद्धि दे करहु निहाला।
जब लग जियो दया फल पाओ,
तुमरो यश में सदा सुनाओ।
दुर्गा चालीसा जो गावे,
सब सुख भोग परम पर पावे।
देवी दास शरणा निज जानी,
करहु कृपा जगदम्ब भवानी।
जय
अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
प्रेम से बोले आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय. I was speaking to Varun when we first came this morning, and I said, boy, taking a bet, it will only have 20 people here. Well, I'm glad to see that I lost that bet, and I welcome so many of you who've been here, who have come this morning face to face, physically, I guess, to celebrate DTKR's win last night, yes? At this juncture, we would invite all of the children of the Balvihara class to move quietly across, the teachers as well, to escort the children across to the Balvihara class, to the annex. So all children, those of you who are with us for the first time, those of you who are regular attendees, just those of you on the southern side here, just be very careful with this particular walkway. There's some water here, so that's why we've blocked it off. We don't want anyone slipping, so please try to avoid the use of the southern corridor next to the benches there. Right. This morning we will once more, as we tried to do in the past, once more coming out of COVID, we're going to reintroduce the Sandhya. So we invite you all to join with us in the Sandhya mantras. Those of you who are familiar, please join together. If not, the verses will appear on the screen, and we invite you to join.
Om Paramatmani Namaha. Om Paramatmani Namaha. Om Paramatmani Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Let us be saved together. Let us be reared together and united and strengthened together too. Let us not be jealous of each other.
Archman, we visualize water in our right palm. Sipping this water as each mantra is recited.
Om Amrito Pastara Namasi Swaha. Om Amrita Pidhanamasi Swaha. Om Satyam Yashaha Shri Mai Sri Srayatam Swaha.
O God, protect and support us, you are of the universe. Be kind and bestow upon us truth, fame, beauty, and prosperity. We continue at Archman once more, visualizing water in our right palm and sipping this water as the mantra is chanted.
Om Shanno Devirabhishtaya Apo Bhavantu Pitaye Shamyorabhisravantu Naha.
Omnipresent God, be kind to us and grant us the happiness and the objects we need. Visualizing water now in our left palm, using the third finger of our right hand and dipping into the water on each occasion, we touch the various parts of the body. We start once more with our mouth.
Om Vagava.
Our nose.
Om Pranaha Pranaha.
Eyes.
Om Chakshuhu Chakshuhu.
Ears.
Om Srotram Srotram.
Navel.
Om Nabhi.
Our heart.
Om Hridayam.
Throat.
Om Kanthaha.
Head.
Om Shiraha.
Both arms.
Om Ahobhyam Yashobalam.
Our palm and back of palm.
Om Karatala Karaprishte.
O God, let my words, life, eyes, ears, neck, heart, throat and head be pure and powerful, and arms strong and renowned. Let my palm and back of palm perform religious rites. We continue at Marjana, and in the same manner, we touch the various parts of our body, starting with the head.
Om Bhupunatu Shirasi.
Eyes.
Om Bhuvaha Punatu Netrayo.
Our throat.
Om Swaha Punatu Kanthe.
Heart.
Om Mahaha Punatu Hridaye.
Navel.
Om Janaha Punatu Nabhyam.
Both legs.
Om Tapaha Punatu Padayo.
Once more ahead.
Om Satyam Punatu Punaha Shirasi.
Now our entire body.
Om Kham Brahma Punatu Sarvatra.
Let the region of Bhu help us to purify our head. Let the region of Buaha help us to purify our eyes. Let the region of Swa help us to purify our throat. Let the region of Maha help us to purify our heart. Let the region of Janaha help us to purify our navel. Let the region of Satya help us to purify our legs. Let the region of Satya again help us to purify our heads. Let Brahma help us to purify every place. We sit upright as we engage now in pranayam.
Om Bhu. Om Bhuvaha. Om Swaha. Om Maha. Om Janaha. Om Tapaha. Om Satyam. Om Ritam Cha Satyam Cha Abhidyat Tapasu Adhijayata Tato Ratraya Jayata Tataha Samudro Dharnavad. Om Samudra Dharnavad Adhi Samvatsaro Ajayata Ahoratrani Vidhadhata Visvesha Mishato Vashi. Om Surya Chandramasodhata Yatha Purvam Kalpaya Devam Cha Prithvim Cha Antariksham Adho Swaha.
Tendency for creation arose in the divine mind of the absolute God. Then came chaos, then came supple water, then day and night. The sun, moon, heaven, world and horizon were created as were in the previous creation. Surya Upasan.
Om Udutyam Jata Vedasam Devam Vahanti Ketavah Drishe Vishwaya Suryam Om
उद्वयं तमसः परि स्वः पश्यन्त उत्तरं देवं देवत्रा सूर्यं गणमां ज्योतिरुतमाम् ॐ चित्रं देवानाम् उरगायनीकं चक्षुर्मेत्रस्य वरुणस्याग्नि आप्राध्यावा पृथिवी अन्तरिक्षं सूर्य आत्मा जगतः तस्थुर्षश्च स्वाहा.
O God, you are beyond darkness. The luminous sun represents you. Everything in this universe proclaims your glory. The wise are surprised and illuminated by your supreme nature. You have given vision to the sun, the sea god, fire god, heaven, the middle region and the earth are being sustained by you. You are the soul of the universe. Pratna.
Om Takshashuryadevahitam Purastat Shukramocharat Pashyema Sharadah Shatam Jivema Sharadah Shatam Srinuyama Sharadah Shatam Prabhavama Sharadah Shatam Arinasyama Sharadah Shatam Bhuyascha Sharadah Shatat.
Omniscient God, let us see for 100 years. Let us live for 100 years. Let us hear for 100 years. Let us live for more than 100 years. We bow in reverence as each of the following mantras are chanted. We pay obeisance to Brahma, to the teachers, to the rishis, to the devatas, and to our Vedas.
Om Brahmane Namaha. Om Acharyebhyo Namaha. Om Rishibhyo Namaha. Om Devebhyo Namaha. Om Vedebhyo Namaha. Om Sarvebhyo Devebhyo Namaha. Om Sarvebhyo Devebhyo Namaha. Om Sarvebhyo Devebhyo Namaha.
Salutations to Brahma, to Preceptor, to sages, to gods, and to the Vedas. We sit upright once more as we chant together the Gayatri Mantra.
Om Bhurbhuva Swa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuva Swa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuva Swa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat.
Let us be in union with thine luminous nature, who is the creator of the three worlds and giver of our intellect. Pratna.
Om Namah Shambhavaya Cha Mayo Bhavaya Cha Namah Shankaraya Cha Mayaskaraya Cha Namah Shivaya Cha Shivataraya Cha. Om Viryamasi Viryamai Dehi. Om Balamasi Balamai Dehi. Om Tejoasi Tejomai Dehi. Om Ojoasi Ojomai Dehi. Om Manyurasi Manyumai Dehi. Om Sahasi Saho Mai Dehi.
Salutations to the Almighty, the giver of bliss, happiness, and peace. May we be blessed with energy, strength, glory, courage, and patience. We join together now as we recite the Universal Peace Prayer.
Sarvesham Mangalam Bhuyat. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Nandantu Sarva Bhutani. Niratankani Santu Cha. Pretirastu Parasparam. Siddhirastu Cha Karmanam. Swasyastu Rajnyo Nityapah. Shamprajabhyasate Vastu. Swasyastu Dvipade Nityam. Shantirastu Chatuspade. Shantirastu no devasya. Bhurbhuvah swaha shivam tatha. Sarvatah shantirastu nah. Saumya bhavantu bhutani. Tvam deva jagatah srasta. Pata deva tvamevahi. Prajapalai devesha. Shantim Guru Jagatpate. Yo me adya sihiyate tasya. Shivamastu sara bhuvi. Yascha mam dveste loke yasmin. Soapi bhadrani pashyantu. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.
So I invite everyone now, those here and those who are looking online, because the words are all on the screen, to join in reciting this prayer, the English that is there for us to recite. Let there be good to all. Let all be free from sickness. Let all see good, and let none suffer. Let all be happy and fearless. Let there be sympathy for each other and success for all work. Let there be prosperity to the leader who protects the people every day, and also to the people. Let the bipeds and the quadrupeds be prosperous every day. Let there be peace in God's and in the three words. Let us and all other beings have peace everywhere. Creator and sustainer, as you are of the world, you encouraged godliness and established peace amongst the people. Who is my friend today? Let him be in peace. And who is my enemy? Let him also be in peace. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Jai Sitaram, everyone. Panditji, this morning we are going to continue where we left off last week, as we are in the midst of Pitri Paksh. And last week, and I'm keeping it very, very simple, last week I just spoke briefly about frequently asked questions in terms of the proper way that we would refer to this 2-week period, in terms of the do's and don'ts that sometimes we have been, following a particular tradition, but not understanding why, in terms of some of the practices and in terms of the meaning. And we also looked very briefly at that story in Mahabharata in terms of Karna and his own circumstance. This morning, very briefly as well, what are the things that we do in terms of the ritualistic aspect? Because last week we spoke about the utility and the benefit of our minds being focused during this period. That stands us apart from other traditions, meaning that we have been given this period of time that we can focus exclusively. Now, we're all very familiar with the fact that on a daily basis, as part of our Nitya Karma, Pitri worship or Pitri Puja is something that we should all perform. But sometimes we forget that, because as part of that daily obligation, for example, is the mandate that we should treat with in a kind and uplifting way lower life forms. Yes? So that's something that we should be doing on a daily basis. Yet just this week, we found two very conflicting examples, both of which occurred in Port-of-Spain, our capital city, which I suppose represents our society in some way. One was the capybara. And I don't know how many of you prior to that event were familiar with the capybara. I wasn't aware that it was that prevalent in Trinidad. But we had this capybara wandering around Independence Square and other places, and people were like stunned, what is this? Frightened. They called the police. The police actually responded very quickly. And they got the conservator, I think Ricardo Meade is his name, to come, and he secured the capybara and was able to take the capybara back to an environment in which it is more aligned. I found it rather ironic that in Port-of-Spain they wouldn't call somebody from the zoo, but they call Ricardo Meade. I mean, that I guess speaks about something. But that was one example where something positive was done in terms of treating with this lower life form. And then I believe it was the following day, going very viral on social media, and I only saw, the first video I saw was this caiman, going around the floodwaters in Port-of-Spain, and some guy walking behind and shooing it along without harming it. But then I was told, you didn't see the other video? And I'm like, no, what other video? I don't really troll social media. But there was this very disturbing video of someone who caught a caiman. And I won't go into the details of what was done with the caiman, but anyway, it was captured and highlighted certain behaviors that I would strongly suggest we all believe are undesirable. It led to the death of the caiman. And I was heartened that the same Ricardo Meade was really very disturbed by this, and prompted on by other persons who were equally disturbed. They did their own investigation, looking at the video, looking at the place where it was done and so on, and he went and was asking, and he actually saw the person, the perpetrator of this matter, at a bar, and he then called the police, and again the police promptly responded, and they then arrested and charged the perpetrator, who claimed he was trying to save the animal, right? Now that speaks to us, because some years ago there was an equally disturbing incident in Caroni where alligator, I believe, was, dealt with in a particular way and then put up on a tree and so on. And it tells us the way we treat with lower life forms is a true reflection of ourselves at an individual and a societal level. Because they say sometimes it is a reflection about our society, and therefore it is disturbing but not surprising that these types of actions are being committed. People value human life so in such a very little fashion, much more for lower life forms. And it is very enriching, especially for our younger ones, to be aware of our rich tradition, that not for a particular time of the year, but every day as part of a Nitya Karma, the respect and obeisance and worship, so to speak, towards our Pitris and other aspects, including lower life forms, is an indictment on all of us to follow on a daily basis. And I'm saying that in the context that sometimes we don't understand, or we don't appreciate, rather, let me use that, we don't appreciate the richness of our tradition. Death is something that we are all certain about in this life. Absolutely 100%, regardless of which tradition, regardless of whatever, wherever we are born, geography, time, whatever is born will die. And our tradition has it that whatever dies will be reborn. And that is why in Bhagavad Gita, for example, Krishna Bhagwan tells to Arjuna in chapter 4, verse 5, when he was speaking to Arjuna and telling him that what I'm instructing you is not new. What I'm instructing you and what I'm telling you, what I'm reminding you about are things that I have told many generations and many creations before. And Arjuna is perplexed by that because he sees Krishna Bhagwan as his equal at that time. And he's saying, well, what you talking about? What do you mean? You were not there then. How can you be saying that? And Krishna Bhagwan tells him in chapter 4, verse 5, that there are many births that you and I have experienced, O Arjuna. I am aware of all of them, but you are not. And that in itself is a very wonderful katha for another time, when we sometimes draw that relationship with our own scriptures and say, well, how could it be Sri Rama's Bhagwan, he went through all of these things, he was crying when Sita Mata was abducted and all of those things. Doesn't seem very godlike. And similarly with Krishna Bhagwan, we also have those comments being made. But you see, the false premise there is we equate Bhagwan with ourselves, and there is no comparison. There is no comparison. So then why the form? The form really is to allow us to relate. We can relate to somebody on our level. Think of teenagers. When an older person is speaking to you, whether it's a parent or a grandparent, let's say they're telling you something, you have some issues. You like some girl, she don't like you back. Or you like some boy, she don't like you back, and you're upset about it. And your parents are trying to guide you and say, what are the emotions that you're feeling, and maybe you need to think. The first reaction is, you don't understand. You don't understand what I'm feeling. Many young people tell their parents that you don't know what I'm experiencing. In other words, they're saying you can't relate to me because of the difference in generation. Not so? Don't you as young people feel that way, that mom and dad are dinosaurs and they can't understand what I'm saying? They don't understand? But that's not so. Maybe some of the indicators have changed a little bit, but the substantive issue has remained the same. And the advice that they would give, coming from that experience, coming from that love, coming from that knowledge, is something that is invaluable. But sometimes when we're young and we all caught up, we don't see it. And in the same way, this is an example of Krishna Bhagwan not trying to relate to Arjuna, but Arjuna being confused by thinking that he's one and the same, when he in fact isn't. So that recognition that we have experienced many births, and we will continue to do so, gives us an idea as well as to the value of this period of Pitri Paksh. And as we said last week, the 2-week period, the fortnight, gives us the opportunity on a daily basis to do certain things, to focus our mind, firstly. I don't know if when we were at CPL last night, our mind was focused on that, or we were just thinking, oh God, these boys really making this run chase seem like a RL, right? But even in that, where was our mind? What are we thinking about during this period? And that's why we said major undertakings and activities should be avoided, because it distracts the mind from where our focus should be. But more than that, the offering of Tarpan is very important, as we said, on a daily basis. And it is something that is open for everyone. For everyone. Sometimes it is said, well, only one person in the family should do it. If better can't be done, then yes. But there's nothing that says everyone shouldn't do it. And in fact, if we do that, it's to our benefit as well, because it gives us the opportunity to once more reconnect who we are, what we are, and where we've come from. And then it'll give us a vision of where we're going. Because the genetics don't lie. How you walk, how you talk, how you look are aligned to that generational dissemination coming down. our habits, our demeanors, and so on. Again, it's linked. So we must show that gratitude and that appreciation, but it also gives us the ability to reflect upon the contribution of our ancestors and of our parents. So apart from the offering of tarpan, which we said could be done or should be done at least 5 consecutive days in this period, or if you want to do for the entire period, there's one day, if you don't have the opportunity, and I'm not saying because it's inconvenient, I'm saying if you don't have the opportunity, they're two different things, and that is on the new moon. And that occurs next Sunday, or Sunday coming. And therefore, on that day, if you haven't had the opportunity, then it is an opportunity for you. Right? And what do? You get up in the morning. Firstly, let me back up a little bit. Firstly, if you have your Pandit and your family guru, you should seek the advice about how you should and what you should do. And invite that person to assist you in the performance of that particular puja, if you have the ability to do that. If that is not possible, then our scriptures give us very simple steps to perform. And that is, we get up in the morning and we do our usual oblations in terms of, the usual things. Bathing, brushing your teeth, whatever. You offer your jal in the normal way. Do your normal puja and so on. And then you focus your mind on your Pitri Puja. And this can commence by the offering of the tarpan. Again, we spoke about that last week. And when you finish offering the tarpan, you then perform your puja. Focused on the puja, the medium would be through the direction of performing puja to Krishna Bhagwan. Krishna Bhagwan. And you perform the puja to the best of your ability. Panchopachar, Shodash Upachar puja, whichever form. But you're performing that puja to Krishna Bhagwan. And part of the performance of that puja as well would include some persons offer pinda when they're offering the tarpan outside. Some persons would prepare sweet rice or kheer, and you offer that. Some persons would prepare food, cooked food as well, which they will then offer to the various life forms. Now, when you're offering that food, the food that you are preparing obviously can be salt food, but it should be sattvic-based food. So in other words, you know the type of foods that you're not offering or should not be offering. And then you perform your havan. Now in the midst of all of that, you may say, well, Panditji, I don't know all of the mantras and I don't know what to... That's fine. There's one mantra that we all know, I'm certain of. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I was reading Swami, I think it was Shivananda, saying that God does not confine himself to a particular geography, particular land, particular ethnicity, and so on. Bhagwan is there for us all. And he drew the parallel that, okay, when God appeared to persons in the West, he appeared in a particular form. There were certain ways of communicating, namely English, communicated that way. It doesn't mean that God is belittled by virtue of the fact that we may not know Sanskrit or we may not know Hindi. So what is our prayer to God? If we know the mantras, excellent. That is the first port of call. But if we don't, then what do we do? Do we say, well, I don't know it, so I can't do anything? No. When you pray to God, it is you communicating directly and speaking. And language will never be a barrier to that communication. It will only be a barrier if you make it a barrier. If you make it a barrier. So if you do not know the mantras, you go before Krishna Bhagwan and you're offering, for example, Bhagwan Krishna, I'm offering you a seat. If you know the words asanam samarpyami. Bhagwan Krishna, I'm offering you water to wash your feet and your hands to rinse your mouth. Saying it in English, if you know the mantras, fine, you say it. If you don't let it be an obstacle for not performing the puja. Follow me? And in the same way, you continue throughout and your mind is focused on what you're doing and why you're doing it. You're making these offerings to Bhagwan as an expression of gratitude for all that you've been blessed with, and also for offering that prayer to Bhagwan that the Atma of your forbearance, wherever they may be, because we don't know, wherever they may be, that they will be blessed by the offerings that you are performing. Think about when you offer things to Agni Devata. I always make this point that, you know, Agni Devata is a manifestation of God. When you offer your samagri and so on, the state of matter that it is in, that physical state of matter, after it's burnt, it's transformed into a different state of matter. When it pervades the entire atmosphere by virtue of the burning of it, it benefits all of creation. It benefits all of creation. So when you make your offerings, whether it is Tilanjali, whether it is Pindadan, whether you offer the food, and the birds come as they do and they eat the food, or the animals come and they eat the food, those are forms of life that are also benefiting from what you've done. So make no mistake about it. There is a tremendous beneficial aspect. So physically you're benefiting, spiritually you're benefiting, and most importantly, mentally you're benefiting. Because many people have a challenge with bringing closure to parting physically with their loved ones. Many people go into severe states of depression because they are unable to cope with the loss of a loved one. They don't know how to say goodbye in that way. And that this type of practice allows us the opportunity to continue to enjoy a relationship, but at a different level, and to assist us mentally in that aspect as well. How beautiful is our tradition? How wise were our rishis and munis in terms of allowing the whole aspect of us as individuals to be catered for. That one aspect that we know with certainty will happen, but we try to avoid it all of the time. All of the time. And I make the comment before, I teach the course probate at the law school, and when I ask people, you have a will? No, I don't have a will, you know. Because they're not thinking, they try to put it to the back burner. Things that you have spent so much of your life working for and acquiring and so on, focus majority of your life on, you haven't then planned for what is going to happen, which is when you are no longer there. And Panditji will tell you, those types of matters create untold confusion after the fact. Even when there is a will, there is still confusion because of preparation and thinking. So the point is, that's a very physical, materialistic aspect. Think about the other aspects which are more important. The spiritual aspect, the emotional aspect, the mental aspect. And this is an opportunity as well to address these matters as well. And so I implore everyone to recognize the value of this period of time, to allow yourself to utilize it to its best and fullest value, to constantly recall during this time particularly the contribution, the benefit that we have had as a result of our foreparents and what they have given to us, particularly this rich tradition of Sanatana Dharma. And be thankful and to have that gratitude and imbibe that sense of gratitude not only for yourself, but allow your children to participate as well. You know, sometimes myself included, we get up in the morning and we offer tarpan, our children sleeping. And maybe we need to include them in that so that they understand that the tradition continues. And it should not be something that is done secretly. Oh, you know, your father going to offer tarpan, don't bother him. It is something that everybody should be embracing and doing. I remember my own father when he would perform tarpan. I just knew he was doing it. I wasn't aware of what he was doing or why. And it was only until much later that I appreciated it. Think of how many years I lost as a result of it. So it's something that we should not be putting in a back burner, hiding or saying, you know, let's not discuss this, because it's something that's very, very important. So as I conclude this morning, I invite us to sit upright. And again, let us reflect on our foreparents. And we chant this most wonderful mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We chant that 21 times. And I invite you, as you chant, think in a very positive, uplifting way of all of those with whom you have a connection, and who are no longer here physically. And we also offer these positive vibrations for persons who may not have anyone to offer these types of prayers to as well. Think of that. So many persons. We join together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Mukam karoti vachalam Pangolantayake girim Yat kripatamaham mande Paramanandamamaravam. Om Shri Krishnai Govindai Namo Namah. I invite you now to come forward and perform your arati. Just remember, just sanitize before you come forward and you perform your arati.
Jai Hare Krishna, Jai Hare Krishna, Govardhan Giridhari. Jai Hare
Krishna, Jai Hare Krishna, Govardhan Giridhari.
Jai Hare Krishna, Jai Hare Krishna, Govardhan Giridhari.
Jai Hare Krishna, Jai Hare Krishna, Govardhan Giridhari.
Radha Mohan Radha Jeevan,
Radha Mohan Radha Jeevan.
O Radha Mohan Radha Jeevan,
Radha Mohan Radha Jeevan.
Mangal Kunj Vihari. राधा मोहन राधा जीवन
राधा मोहन राधा जीवन
मंगल कुंज विहारी
मंगल कुंज विहारी
ओ मंगल कुंज विहारी
मंगल कुंज विहारी
जय हरे कृष्णा गोवर्धन गिरधारी
जय हरे कृष्णा गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
ओम जय हरे कृष्णा गोवर्धन गिरधारी
जय हरे कृष्णा गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
हे नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल
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 हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदु नंद नंद गोपाल
हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदु नंद नंद गोपाल
हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदु नंद नंद गोपाल
हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदु नंद नंद गोपाल
हे नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद 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 नंद गोपाल
हे नंद
समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान। एक दिन सबको जाना होगा, निर्धन या धनवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान। दुर्लभ ये मानव जीवन, बड़ा कठिन पाना मानव तन है। दुर्लभ ये मानव जीवन, बड़ा कठिन पाना मानव तन। पाकर धन वैभव यौवन तू, मत करना अभिमान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान। जिस दिन आया तो धरती पर काल चला हम झोली बन कर। जिस दिन आया तो धरती पर काल चला हम झोली बन कर। पता न किस पल घर बैठेगा, मूर्ख रुख पहचान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान। काम बहुत पर जीवन तोरा, उस पर मन का चंचल घोड़ा। काम बहुत पर जीवन तोरा, उस पर मन का चंचल घोड़ा। रुक जा प्राणी, गाले प्रभु का सुंदर प्यारा नाम रे, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान। जब छलने का पल आएगा, कोई रोक नहीं पाएगा। जब छलने का पल आएगा, कोई रोक नहीं पाएगा। प्रभु चरणों में शरण तिहारी, सोच समझ नादान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान। एक दिन सबको जाना होगा, निर्धन या धनवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान, समय बड़ा बलवान रे, समय बड़ा बलवान।
This will be our final bhajan before announcements and final arti.
केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना।
केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना। कमल दल अतीव मनोहर।
नेत्र कमल दल अतीव मनोहर।
नृत्य कमल दल अतीव मनोहर।
अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर।
अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर।
माया मानुष माधवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना जय देवा मधुसूदना जय देवा मधुसूदना जय देवा मधुसूदना
Prem se bole Bindraban Bihari Lal ki jai. I want to invite Pandit Devendra to the mic, so let me just make the adjustments. Panditji, they want to capture you on camera too, so I'll invite you to stand here so they'll get you on the camera.
Sitaram, Jai Shri Ram, Sitaram everyone. I'm not giving a message, I'm just giving an invitation. The invitation is this. As Panditji mentioned, next week Sunday is the Amavasya, and in that moment, those of us who would like to offer Pitri Tarpan are invited to come along. Reach for 8 o'clock in the morning, bring 2 bowls. One smaller bowl in which you will have your water and your black tail and your white rice. So if you need to get the listing, we will give it to you and send it to you. So you'll have a smaller bowl, your black tail, your white rice, and some flowers. There's rain quite often these days. If you are able to catch some rainwater to offer, all the better, because offering the rainwater or river water that is clean, then that is wonderful to offer. You will then have a bigger bowl in which you will then place a small pot with kush grass. If you don't have kush grass, we know somebody who can probably arrange. But Bhai, you still have down your side? So we can talk to Vishnu Bhai. He always has a good supply of good quality kush grass. Not vetiver grass, which is the razor grass which cuts. When we don't have a choice, that's what we use, but he has good kush grass. And come to do puja next week when we're finished. So you're coming for 8 o'clock on the dot, those of us who would like to make that offering. When you're coming, bring a little list of all those who you want to offer for, whose names you want to offer on behalf of. Then when we're finished at 8:30, when we begin, Panditji will lead us in a beautiful Krishnaji Puja to be done next week, so that all of the requirements will be done. If you know people who would like to offer the Talpan but are not able to for some reason, you can tell them so they can come along next week. We will set up on the outside as we've done in the past. Anilji, we will set the tables so you wouldn't have to bend. Some people have the bad backs. So you'll set the tables to become easy. All right? So that is an invitation to everybody who wants to do that. And then during the pravachan next week, we will discuss the mantras that were recited. So you will understand, as I have done in the past and mentioned, the greatness of Sanatan Dharma and what those mantras mean and what it is meant to invoke. Prem se bolo Shri Govind Krishna Bhagwan ki Jai.
Thank you, Panditji. So again, the list, just bring the black tail, the bowls, if you have, and you have the kush grass, and the white rice, and some tulsi leaves, and your flowers. Those are the things that you require. If when we perform the Krishna Bhagwan Puja, you will all be invited to come to make your offering then. If you want to bring fruits to offer, or to Rahawi, you can do so as well at that point. Before you stand for Arti, a couple other announcements. We want to firstly thank everyone for coming. We want to continue to remind you of the Bal Vihara class that continues every Sunday. We start at 8:45. And if you know of young children who would benefit from this class, I would invite you to extend the invitation to them so that they can join. Yoga classes resume tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. So you're invited to come, to join, or to continue the classes right upstairs of the annex. Navratri starts on the 26th of this month, so that'll be following Monday. And our evening satsangs will begin at 6 p.m. Rama has been collecting the names of persons who would be leading the puja. I think we have one more night left. Well, that's been taken, Rama? Not sure? One more night left, right? So if you are interested, you could see her and you could put your name down. But we would invite everyone to come for 6, and we'll try to be finished by 7:30. We have discussions ongoing with members of the Gujarati Association, and it is very likely that the Garba will be reintroduced this Navratri, and it will start from 7:30 and will run for about an hour right in the annex. So it's a wonderful time to come and join as we offer our puja to the Divine Mother. Finally, as I close, the fundraiser, as you know, is coming up, and that's on the 9th of October. It's a Sunday morning. It's in the format of a takeaway breakfast. I think most tickets have gone out, and I think we're almost at the point of selling out of all of our tickets. But what we need would be a few items still for to be donated. I think particularly my favorite baigan choka, we missing the baigan. So if anybody knows of anybody with a baigan farm, seriously, no, but if you want to donate any items for that, we have a couple items that we still require donation, but more importantly as well, on that morning, we will need your help. We need the physical assistance to pack and to have things ready so that the distribution is very smooth. And while the distribution would start at 9:30, we would need obviously assistance from before. So as many of you as can who would be inclined and willing to help, please see Mrs. Rama Umrao or Renuka Maharaj this morning to give your names so that we can book you in terms of the assistance on that morning. You're also reminded of Bhagavad Gita classes, which will not be face-to-face this Sunday, but next Sunday after service, after 10, and it's alternate face-to-face every other Sunday, and this week it will be online. Anil, it's Wednesday from 7 o'clock, right? Online from 7 p.m. So if you haven't joined before, you can see Sri Anil Maharaj. Wonderful, wonderful program, and he can give you the information in terms of joining. I want to invite you now to stand for final arti and then closing prayer. Sitaram, everyone.
Om Jai Jagadish Hari, Swami Jai Jagadish Hari, Bhakt Jano ke Sankat, Das Jano ke Sankat, Shan mein dur kare. Om Jai Jagadish Hari, जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख बिन से मन का, स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का, सुख संपत्ति घर आवे, सुख संपत्ति घर आवे, कष्ट मिटे तन का। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, मात पिता तुम मेरे, शरण कहूँ किसकी, स्वामी शरण कहूँ किसकी, तुम बिन और न दूजा, तुम बिन और न दूजा, आश करो जिसकी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, तुम पूरन परमात्मा, तुम अंतर्यामी, स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी, पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर, पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर, तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, तुम करुणा के सागर, तुम पालन करता, स्वामी तुम पालन करता, हम सेवक तुम स्वामी, हम सेवक तुम स्वामी, कृपा करो भरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, तुम हो वेद अगोचर, सबके प्राणपति, स्वामी सबके प्राणपति, इस विधि मिलो दया में, इस विधि मिलो दया में,
को मैं कुमति। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे। स्वामी तुम रक्षक मेरे। अपने हाथ उठाओ, अपने हाथ उठाओ, द्वार पर तेरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
विषय
विकार मिटाओ, पाप हरो देवा। स्वामी पाप हरो देवा। श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ, श्रद्धा प्रेम बढ़ाओ, संतन की सेवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे। भक्त जनों के संकट, दास जनों के संकट, क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
हरि ओम। O Prabhu, you are mother and father. You are family, you are friend, you are knowledge, you are wealth, you are everything to us. You are omniscient and all-merciful, you are omnipotent. We pray this morning expressing our gratitude for all of the blessings that we've been bestowed with. We pray seeking your continued guidance and inspiration as we traverse this pathway of life. We pray this morning as well for the benefit of the Atma of all of our foreparents, wherever they may be. Shower your blessings upon them. For you, O Prabhu, allow us to do all things. Through you, all things are possible. Bless those who are downtrodden. Bless those who are ailing. Bless those who have lost their loved ones. We ask for these and more prayer. Hari Om. Tvameva Mata Shapita Tvameva. Tvameva Bandhus Jasika Tvameva. Tvameva Vidya Dravinam. Tvameva. Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय। श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। प्रेम से बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। सब कोई जय सीताराम जय सीताराम। Devotees, two things. One, all youths, you have a meeting now, right after service, so we invite you to stay at the front benches. Definition of a youth, anyone who is in Form 1 or 12 years and over, we invite you to stay behind. We are looking to once more plan for our Diwali program, particularly, so we invite all youths to stay behind for this. And also, just a reminder, next week we start at 8, as Panditji has instructed, so please get here for 8 a.m. for those of you who would want to make your offering of Tarpan. Jai Sitaram, everyone. Have a very powerful, very safe, and very productive week ahead. Sitaram.